Hello again, StrokeWeb. Today I'm bringing you another information video, news video about Torchlight 3, and I haven't updated you regarding the game for quite a while, mostly because of the non-disclosure agreement, which prevents me to share any screenshots or video footage from the in-game. But I've got some recorded video on demand footage from official streams, which you would be seeing throughout this video. Some of it is from last night's stream, the other one is from the previous Friday. And we would be discussing the recently announced Legendarium, which adds another layer of depth to build making. It would allow you, when choosing your build, to use kind of similar to the Kanai's cube system, where you can add the powers of certain items, up to 3 items that you would benefit from, and you would be able to swap those on the go. But instead of just talking about it myself, I would just show you videos of the developers, of the game designers, and the community manager talking about this. Another thing I would share information about would be the recently announced changes to how difficulty settings would work, and then something about what came with the last mainline patch from 4 days ago regarding reworked, more streamlined system of the skills and the decreased crunched level cap from 100 to 60, which kind of was probably one of the main reasons why we now have less skill points. And I think this is a very good change myself, because it felt so grindy once you finish the story and having to grind to level 100. So now it's gonna be much less grind after finishing the story, and you can probably get that level 60 on one character and then move on to another character. But again, regarding all of those things, I would rather let you hear what the developers think, why they thought such a system was needed regarding the skills, regarding the Legendarium, and regarding the difficulty changes. And at the end, you would hear a little bit about why PvP in the game, when they were prototyping and experimenting with it, why it didn't seem to be working out, and right now there are no plans of really adding PvP in the game.
I will start with kind of why we decided to add it, and then you can go into more details about how it works. So one of the things that we found and have gotten feedback on consistently that was missing from the game was sort of a long-term progression that lets you switch up meaningfully how your character is built. You know, everybody wants to have lots of different build options. There's a lot of work that goes into building our actual skills, and we have enhanced them to a point so that you can make different choices about them. You have more freedom now of what you're going to invest in instead of being more railroaded, especially as a railmaster. But now we looked at a lot of the similar games in this space, and there are a lot of humongous, massive, passive grids and structures and wheels and constellations and various things that just essentially they're affixes. Really, if you look at it, it's different affixes with different gating mechanisms and ways of traversing the path and building your character out by applying some number of affixes to your character. Um, Rather than building a whole thing all new, whole from cloth, and starting all over on that right now, so close to launch, one thing that we're looking at is we've made a lot of legendaries, really cool mayhem style legendary gear with cool affixes. And while those are still super cool to find and useful to collect, it'd be even cooler if you could also get those affixes and mix and match those in different interesting ways and add those to your characters. So that's kind of where we arrived at using the legendaries that we have created to give you some control over your builds. I'll let you take it from there, Michael.
All right. Yeah, it's a good rundown of the why. So the basics of the how is that anytime you get a legendary, as soon as you've kind of outgrown it or are done using it and you haven't unlocked its affix yet, you can go into your enchanting table and dismantle that for its legendary essence, and you automatically unlock the affix for life, forever, on all of your characters across your entire account. So you'll get it for anybody that you play thereafter. So it also incentivizes trying, going into the story with your main character, getting in decent ways, but then you'll be able to start your next character with a little bit of a head start because they'll have access to more of these legendary affixes. People will compare it to the cube. Yes, there is some similarities. It is a lot less restrictive than the cube. There's no categories. There's no you have to have utility or defensive things. You just pick 3 of any kind you want, which can make it kind of crazy because it means you can equip now 4 weapon affixes, which you could not do before. Before you could only pick 1 single weapon of the 54, 55-ish weapons that we have, and now you can have 4 of them. That means that builds that people had created before just got exploded because there was one very popular build using the Entropy Molten Reach, I believe it's called, that gives it more firebolts. Cool. What are you going to do next? Because now you can have 3 more weapon affixes. And that means that build is going to get a whole lot crazier once you start collecting all these.
And one of the things you had mentioned is that even if you don't have any of these unlocked, if you come in as a fresh account, you get 5. You have 5 of these available at the get-go. So you're not even just like starting empty. You're going to have some options right at the beginning. Do you have some like descriptions of what those look like?
Right, so there are 5 total that you start the game with, even on a fresh account. We don't have, since I think we have most everything unlocked in this particular account, do we? Or are they, nope, it looks like if you go all the way to the top, you should see all 5 of them. They are geared towards helping out a new player who is not really familiar with the game yet. You probably won't stick with them the entire time once you get actual legendary items, but they're things like movement speed, letting you get potions quicker, making movement skills recharge faster. There is one that gives you bonus shrine effects when you kill a elite or legendary monster. There are things that are really good and really useful for that early game era, but probably not so good when you're reaching towards the end of the game. You probably want to replace them with things that you found, but they're still balanced and tuned to be equals. It's just you may not find yourself needing to find more potions if you've already got 30 potions. There was a quick question in the chat, which was, can you equip 3 of the same affix? No, you cannot. None of the legendary affixes stack with each other, and that includes if you have it in the Legendarium and in the item slots. So it doesn't matter where it is, you can only stack it once.
And you also had mentioned that once you have it unlocked for one character, it's unlocked on your account. You have access to it across all of your characters, correct?
Correct, yep.
Yep. And then, one of the, you might see some bugs in this, just to be clear that this is in development still, and this is coming within the next few weeks. So you won't see this unlocked right now in game, but you will be able to see it within the next few weeks. So you get 3 of them, and they're unlocked at levels. Currently, they're unlocked at 3, 20, and 40. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. And is there any other things that we should preview or chat about with the Legendarium?
Not really. It's a deceptively simple system because it uses the legendary affixes we've already made. It's not something you really have to study. You don't have to understand a giant new tree of passives and try to plot out a build that's completely different. It's just adding a layer onto what we already had. And this was something that, as you mentioned, specifically the community had been asking for, that said, and these legendary affixes are cool. I wish some of that design space was used in the skill progression system, that my character unlocks some of that, and now that's exactly what we've done. So I hope that this kind of meets that goal.
And that less hoarding, less outgrowing stuff. You'll have more resources for making your character cool and customized, and your build. So
Absolutely, it'll feel much less
disappointing.
Disappointing when you outgrow a legendary, because now you get to use it.
Yeah, this is really cool. I'm excited to go out and actually try some of these things. And on that Legendarium, you can trade those out at any time. So I can be in the middle of combat and be like, this isn't working out for me. Let me try something else.
Yep.
Yeah.
No spectacle required, no permanence. You can just swap them in and out just like you would an item.
Yeah. Gavrin wanted to know regarding skills. I don't know what it was like prior to the most recent patch, but I'd like to know why you chose to go down with 2 skill trees this time around instead of the top-down model. What was the thinking behind kind of changing some of the skills, going down to 60 points, and some of the skill tuning that's happened recently?
Yeah, I mean, going down to 60 points was obviously, I think if there are less levels per skill, you can make more meaningful increases per level. I mean, you can only stretch that so far because there's only so many skills. But that sort of followed on from our decrease in the level cap, because we brought the level cap in to give us space for post-launch progression. B, we're hoping leads to less like I am on this same character grinding post the story forever versus being able to make new characters or advance my character that I have up to the story. I think that it luckily gives us, I think, some more room there for additional expansion later. And we had to make the adjustment to the skill levels to redistribute them, relative to the character level.
And we've had some pretty positive feedback so far from people saying that they've enjoyed having to like really think about what their build was going to consist of, because now they're just not like, flung out with a bunch of points so they can just kind of do whatever they want. They really have to be selective now about what they want their build to be.
Right. And we agree that you should have to make meaningful decisions about your character skills and what the build for your character is. And I think it is nice to have flexibility there. We had a lot of debate and discussion about like what is the right amount of flexibility. Should I be able to max out enough skills to just fill the skill bar? Should I make enough to fill out the skill bar, but also my skill bar is including the basic attack and or relic skill? Do I not care about those? Should I have a little bit more than that, like a skill bar and a half? Should I have 2 skill bars worth of maxed out skills? And after a lot of debate and discussion, we ended up with where we ended up of how many skills you could max out. Man, you don't have to max them all out. You can make strategic decisions about how far you want to go down each path, depending on what tier bonuses you want to unlock.
Yeah, I know that for me, it definitely feels like I'm being more specific and there's more intention in my choices now that I don't feel like I'm being a little bit over-flooded with points. Okay, so we had...
Because otherwise it's just, okay, I look at all the things. So I think the idea for this actually originated with Max, I believe. He sort of championed this change. And I think it's a good one of, talking with streamers and speedrunners, guys like Llama SC, Mr. Llama SC, and Riker and folks like that, and they get a lot of pride out of making their hardcore runs and being at a certain difficulty level. And a lot of the difficulty level stuff is just completely like invisible, and like what you're set to, and okay, cool. It was more functional, like I can switch this. Okay, cool. But being able to communicate to other people of what your ability level is and how accomplished you are, and your sense of pride of what you're able to do in the game was completely missing. And also not being able to see the difficulty level other players are on could lead to you just like, I'm going to hop into a group and you're with somebody who's on casual or normal and is just starting the game, but you're on your fourth character at level 8 on hardcore ridiculous difficulty. It's a very different experience for grouping. So this surfaces the setting at which you let me get this right. It surfaces the difficulty at which is the lowest you played that character. And so if you started the game with the setting of painful, then it will have a certain shield, a certain look to all other players, and that's in the world and over their heads in the menus, things like that. But then if you go and lower it, it's going to permanently be lower. And so there's an incentive there of, if you want to be known and people to see that you're at a certain difficulty level, kind of should keep at that level. And so people can find you. I don't know if it's happened yet, but we're also supposed to be showing your current difficulty level in the social menu to help make finding people who are playing at a certain level easier to find, because those may be different than the lowest difficulty you ever played on for that character. But so I think that is pretty cool, and so I think it'd be useful to see, like, no, I've been playing this character at ridiculous and I've made it to level 50, and that's a pretty cool accomplishment.
And one of the things that goes along with the updates is that you will only be able to play in a party with people that are of your same difficulty. So it's going to make sure that there's no confusion, there's no there's no curiosity in how this is affecting different players. Is this monster going to give me more experience or less experience? Well, the gameplay should be for the same for everyone, because everybody's going in there at the same difficulty level. So that's gonna be nice to be able to tie that in together.
And so at least at this point, yeah, you will have to be in the same difficulty level as another player. So if you normally play it on normal or hard, then it's probably not going to be an onerous challenge to up the difficulty level if you want to go play with another player. But you might want to stick with a higher difficulty group if you are really serious about staying at a high difficulty level. If that's something you care about, then that's probably something you're willing to do. We're also making a change that instead of just hitting escape and being able to switch difficulty level, you've got to exit out to character select to change the difficulty for that character, because there are a number of, again, issues with the instances that are spun up, and being able to switch on the fly like that would have created a bunch of bugs and inconsistencies. So right now it's pretty clear. When you go in through character create, you're at a certain difficulty, and if you want to change that, you're going out to character select and changing it, and then you are playing at that character. I think that keeps the integrity of that difficulty badge for that character.
There was mention of Endgame. Let's see if I can scroll up to get the exact quote. There was a mention that Endgame should not be just health and damage increases. Getting one shot feels bad, and there should be more mechanical stuff. All of these things are things we are taking into consideration and actively thinking about. I'm not going to say what we're doing about them, but your opinions are heard.
So while we don't have any specifics,
your opinions are heard.
Yeah.
I will say we hear that people want an endgame. The message is very clear, not just map works. There will be we're in the early stages of prototype type work and functionality work of stuff for an end game system. Not going to say when that will be done. I'm not going to give more details than that, because it's actively in prototype, so things could change. But I'm very excited about it, and I think it builds on our strengths, and it'll be pretty cool.
And we know that people have been asking for it, so we definitely hear you. Is there? I mean, I know the answer to this. I feel like I know the answer to it, but somebody asked, is there going to be any PvP in the game?
I don't believe so. Not before launch, anyway. We've talked about it. There's prototypes, and there's nothing like set in stone. I don't think we've ever said publicly that we're doing anything like that. It's more like a cool idea that we tried out and didn't really work out. As far
Okay.
as
But
that's the best answer I think I can give there.
if you
Sean might have some more details.
if you're ever interested and you want to, you can
We
go.
we had a prototype experiment.
Oh, go ahead.
We had a prototype experiment that Tyler ran. There's a checkbox. There's a checkbox that you can turn on PvP. Oh god, it's awful. It's just the worst because I mean none of the skills are balanced or affixes are balanced against each other. We layered in for our prototype different factors of like, but use this factor when you're in PvP, and it is just fundamentally an unbalanced, unfun thing. And additionally, like once and if it's enabled at all, even if it was just like no stakes, guys, it doesn't impact your character ever. Not locked, doesn't affect progression at all, just for funsies PvP. Even if with those caveats, it will still become someone's full-time balancing job. And we just don't have the resources for that. So it's an interesting thing, and if that's something that gets jacked up the top of the NOLT charts of something that this community's really invested in, that's what they're really looking for, then maybe we'll revisit the question post-release.
So that was kind of all the news I wanted to share with you. As soon as the NDA is lifted in the game, I would get back to making build videos for Torchlight 3 and making content updates whenever there's something new going on with the game. Let me know if you want in the comment section, or join my Discord channel where we can have a discussion, or just join the official PlayTorchlight Discord channel and discuss there with the other fans of the game regarding what you think about those changes. Are you excited? Do you think it's good changes? Do you think something doesn't feel right regarding what you heard? I personally am very excited about all the things that they have been revealing over the past few months since the game rebranded as Torchlight 3 and launched on Steam. Can't wait to be able to play with all of you. So if you need help, if you want to level up characters together, contact me and I can start a new character with you. Even if I can't stream it, we can find a time when I'm not streaming and we can play together. If you enjoyed this video, you could subscribe to my channel to get notified for more content updates for games like Chaos Bane, Torchlight 3, Wolves and Words of Mayhem, or other similar isometric shooters, or as well sometimes for Borderlands 3 content. Thanks for watching the video, folks. Keep it cool. Until next time, and goodbye.